From Toronto, Ontario, this is the International Association for the Study of Pain. The 2022 World Congress on Pain is the global gathering of pain researchers, clinicians, and physicians, all fighting for one common cause: to eradicate the debilitating diagnosis of chronic pain.
It's been great. Transitioning to an in-person meeting is it's exciting. You get to network, see people you haven't seen in a long time, and develop relationships that hopefully will last a long time.
I really am very impressed of how IASP puts everything together and especially gathers experts around the pain field.
My favorite part has been the poster presentations and meeting new people.
Everybody meets in the poster halls, so that's where you really get to meet not only senior faculty, but people that you know that are within your cohort.
My favorite thing this week has been to learn and to exploit that curiosity of pain mechanisms.
You can see people are here to actually meet new people, network, know about other projects, and I think that's what people are here for.
Remember, you can see all of our latest content on any of the IASP TV monitors stationed throughout the Convention Center, and you can catch up on past episodes on the dedicated spot on the IASP website. And as always, check us out on our YouTube channel or Twitter feed. It has been a full week of engaging interviews, informative sessions, and educational hands-on sessions. Today, our fourth and final day of IASP TV is taking you to the finish line with some key figures. We are hearing from the former IASP president about what it was like having to preside during a pandemic. We will talk with the editors of the journal Pain, the official journal of IASP, featuring original research on the nature, mechanisms, and treatment of pain. And lastly, we will look ahead to Amsterdam 2024 and all the preparations already underway for our next global gathering. This is IASP TV. Welcome back. I'm Andrea Godfrey, your host of IASP TV, and I am thrilled to have you back with us for our fourth and final day at the 2022 World Congress on Pain. We are wrapping up this week with some incredible interviews and a look ahead at what's in store for the next time we come together. And joining us now this morning, Dr. Lars Nielsen, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, so I would imagine that one of the highlights of your tenure as IASP president is getting to oversee the World Congress on Pain. That unfortunately did not happen in 2020. That had to be a little bit of a letdown. A little bit.
I hadn't expected that the last year of my term should, and end up in mitigation plans and contingency plans, etc., etc. We were all sitting there in isolation late March 2020. And we had to take that decision, and that has been the most dramatic decision ever taken in the history of IASP.
You said a World Congress has never been canceled before.
The World Congress has never been canceled before. So we took the decision. It was a very tough decision, but of course we did the right thing. Now retrospectively, of course, we know that this was the only thing we could do.
And we will finally get to meet in Amsterdam. It will just be in another 2 years.
We will definitely be in Amsterdam.
It'll be a great time. What would you like for people to know about your 2 years at the helm of IASP?
Well, I had a plan, and I had some presidential goals, and my overall theme was IASP Connecting. Because before I took over the presidency, I made a survey among members, and I found out that one thing which they really wanted was more content. And over my term, we developed a much more continued education. The other thing which I'm actually very proud of, we implemented a strategy for including people with lived experience.
Oh, yes.
So we do have now people with lived experiences included in all aspects of the IASP organization. So this is the so-called GAPA. People with lived experiences and chronic pain are the people we want to help, and that's why we're here, and that's what we do.
It's interesting, we spoke with the co-chair of GAPA yesterday, and it sounds like something that should have been an integral part of IASP years ago. How much of having those with lived experiences working together with researchers and clinicians is helping to move research forward?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why we didn't it years ago, but I mean,
it took you coming in.
But I mean, you have to, I mean, these things are slowly developing. And I mean, you can see, I mean, ISP is actually moving forward very quickly now. And I mean, there are organizations now also entering that space, and there are organizations who have been there for a while. But I mean, it is really important, and we see the benefit now. We have representatives from GAPA on our scientific committee for this meeting. And I mean, they have done a tremendous job.
If you had to pinpoint one thing that you're the most proud of during your years as IASP president, what would you pinpoint?
No, I mean, I would actually point on that specific aspect that we are now including people with lived experience, because I think that was a very, very important step. I also want to say that we are proud of all the content we have kind of developed. We have a new platform for continued learning, which again, as I said, we have this CME accreditation. So I mean, I'm very proud that we actually listened to all our members.
Wonderful. Okay, I cannot let you leave until we discuss you being knighted by the Queen, by the Danish Queen. That is incredible. Such an honor. How did that come about?
Well, actually, you don't know. I mean, you don't know. You receive probably either a letter or probably you're going to receive a letter from the Royal Castle that you have actually been nominated. Of course, it's an honor, but it's something which, I mean, I simply use it for promoting science and saying that this is recognized.
Well, wonderful. What an honor, and very well deserved, absolutely. Congratulations on navigating us through, those 2 years of the pandemic. We certainly appreciate your leadership.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Throughout the week, we have toured various centers and campuses where teams of researchers are working tirelessly to improve the lives of those suffering with severe chronic pain. Let's take a look back at some of those at the forefront of this fight.
In 2016, the Canadian Institutes of Health Research made an unprecedented investment in chronic pain research in Canada. They funded a series of research networks focused on chronic disease. They elected to identify chronic pain as a disease in its own right. That meant that the Chronic Pain Network could come into being.
Patient partners are front and center in all aspects of the Chronic Pain Network. They're involved in the governance of the network. They help to drive the priority setting process. They're involved in all of the projects.
It's really important to involve Indigenous communities in research and improving access to care, and it's really working with them. So we as researchers and clinicians shouldn't be coming up with the solutions. It really should come from the communities themselves.
In terms of involving and engaging patients at the table in decision-making of the network, the Chronic Pain Network truly walks the talk.
The pain education gap exists because pain is part of every clinical discipline, but it's not the primary part of any, so it becomes an orphan. And we need to change that.
UC Davis has really been sort of a leader in looking at this education component. And so we wanted to train pretty much all of the primary care providers in the state of California and beyond.
We thought hard about this and came up with the idea that we could train the trainers for the primary care communities and hopefully train a trainer within each community to go in and be the teacher for their group.
It's really a force multiplier to educate as many people as possible, high yield information, and to do it at a short period of time.
This program could help millions of clinicians release them from the reliance they might have on opioids. And I'm proud that we at UC Davis have been able to lead the way.
The Chronic Pain and Fatigue Research Center is probably best known for the work we've historically done in fibromyalgia, but we literally have, over the course of our existence, studied at least 20 different chronic pain conditions.
There are several ways we collaborate with our community and patient partners. For example, a lot of our research surrounds non-pharmaceutical interventions for chronic pain conditions. We work closely with our partners to ensure that these interventions are responsive to what patients want and need.
We're getting patients more and more involved in these programs and projects. It's not about us, it's not about the faculty and their grants and their awards. It's that I'm just excited about what we are going to be able to do to make the lives of chronic pain patients better.
Well, pain, it is not just what we are all here to treat, it is also the official journal of the IASP. And joining us this morning to discuss a little bit more about the journal and its mission is Editor-in-Chief Frank Keefe. Good morning, thanks for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's start with, like I said, the overall mission of the journal. What is it that you hope to provide to members with each edition?
Yeah, it's very simple. It's simply to publish the best basic and applied science in the pain area. And with that, to inform the broad membership, which is multidisciplinary, of pain, of the IASP.
And you've been at the helm of the journal for a decade now.
Yes.
Any particular highlight for you over these last 10 years?
I think the quality of articles has really improved over the past 10 years. And I think that partly reflects the increasing recognition of how important pain is, both acute and chronic pain, increased funding for research, and I think an influx of newer investigators into the field, many of them from other areas, not necessarily who started their training in pain research.
Just kind of now find themselves in that field.
Yeah, and it's really enriched the field enormously.
Interesting. You know, in this digital age, does the way that clinicians and researchers consume the most latest information and consume their news, has that changed? And if so, has the journal had to kind of adapt to those changes?
Oh yeah, I think it's changed enormously. So 10 years ago, people mostly were reading the journal. They were reading individual articles they were thumbing through. The way it works now, if you have an article accepted, it's immediately published online. In a preliminary form, and then when the final form is ready, that's published online. So people are able on their smartphones or other devices simply to click on a link and see an article just as soon as it's accepted.
Incredible. Yeah. So it's actually much more user-friendly, I guess.
Oh, very user-friendly.
Great. What are some of the key basic and applied pain science topics that you're currently seeing right now, and what are some of the ones that you think we're likely to see in the future? Yeah.
I think a key one across all the sections is, why is it that some individuals, either animals or humans, transition from the acute pain experience to the chronic pain experience? And it's often only a subgroup of the individuals who have acute pain that make that transition.
Yeah, well, you were talking about the imaging. We were just doing, you know, a piece here on IASP TV about ultrasound therapy and how that's being utilized now to treat pain in the soft tissues.
Yes.
Interesting. So, you know, like I said, you've been at the helm for 10 years now. You're about to step down. Anything in particular that you're going to miss about being editor-in-chief?
I think the ability to really stay at the absolute forefront, because I see the manuscripts that are accepted and not accepted, and really can see where are people pushing the boundaries, what is happening. And it's very exciting. I've enjoyed it enormously.
Well, you've obviously done a wonderful job to have been at the helm for 10 years. Congratulations. And we should point out, for anyone who wants to get their hands on the latest August edition or issue, they can do it right here in the exhibit hall. Great. All right, Frank, thank you so much for your time this morning. Appreciate it. Best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's a wrap on this year's 2022 World Congress on Pain, which means it's time to look ahead. Preparations are already underway for our next global gathering taking place in the Netherlands capital of Amsterdam. But first, let's take a look back at what we've accomplished this past week.
The IASP, I think, is about cutting-edge research in pain management.
It brings together people from all specialties, researchers, clinicians.
We are showing the participants how ultrasound, how we use it in the pain intervention. Each time I come to a seminar like this, I learn a little more. When I go back home, my care of patients is better and it's safer.
I want to help people in chronic pain because it's such a burden on their life. It stops them enjoying their life.
This was actually supposed to be in Amsterdam 2 years ago, but because of the pandemic, it got canceled. So we were able to move the conference until 2024. And it's a lovely city, and so there's a lot of activities and things that people can do outside of the meeting. And for all those reasons, we've chosen it. I'm hoping that people will send their submissions in and send their ideas, and we will have another wonderful conference.
So much to look forward to and so much to be proud of. It has been an honor being with you this past week. We hope that you have enjoyed all of the specially curated content, the insightful interviews, the keynote speeches, the hands-on workshops, just as much as we have enjoyed bringing it all to you. That does it for IASP TV and the 2022 World Congress on Pain. We hope you've enjoyed your time in Toronto, and we look forward to seeing you again in Amsterdam. See you then.